mean, actually, it was coming to Australia is more entrepreneurial. I mean, the actual decision to make that step is a big decision, a life decision. And I think when I got here, I found that people were more aware of working for yourself, whereas a lot more people in the UK, I don't know the stats, work for somebody else. And so, whereas it was much more the entrepreneurial spirit here. It's about give it a go.
Give it a whirl. I love that saying.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't know if it's going to work, but let's give it a whirl. Fantastic. So what was one thing that's had the greatest impact on your business?
Well, when I went out on my own, I had been working with an accounting firm and doing the financial planning for that firm. And so when I went out on my own, I really saw the need to get some great connections, some, people call them centers of influences or some referral networks. And I kind of focused on that for the first 2 or 3 years. And I was very fortunate enough to get a great association with an accounting firm in the city. And really that was the catalyst for the generation of leads. But what was interesting about that, I really interviewed for that relationship, and I really had some formal meetings with them because they actually had an in-house planner who left. So effectively they were wanting to outsource that activity. And I think I was interviewed with 2 or 3 other people, but I really took it like it was a job interview and really sold myself into that organization.
So they were really taking that partnership very, very seriously. It wasn't like, hey, let's just be referral buddies and I'll send you people and you'll send me some and that sort of stuff. It was a really formal process that they were going through.
It was. I mean, they had a need in the sense that they were replacing an internal resource with an external resource. And I was looking for that type of relationship. So that was good. I think the message, though, is you've got to work on that strategy. You've got to put yourself out there. You create your own luck. The harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think that at that time was, that was the step I needed to pick my business up. So
cool.
Great.
No, that's fantastic. Do you have a saying or a mantra that you use to keep?
Sure.
It's not always going to be beer and Skittles. It's going to be, some days are going to be challenging. So let's talk a little bit about that.
It's not a mission statement and stuff, but I mentioned it the other day to you. The phrase is handsome is as handsome does. And the reason behind that was something when I was growing up, my grandmother, who was very responsible for looking after my brother, and I used to say, particularly at times when we weren't doing the right thing, I was giving him a good left jab or something. And I think, but for me in life, and I've actually had to reiterate that to my own son recently in a certain areas, but I think for me,
he was giving someone a good left jab at the time.
No. He's away on a 4-week camp, and I actually had to write a letter to him about how much I appreciate him. So
yes,
and it was really, just putting out there something that meant a lot to me and for him. But I think that phrase, "handsome is as handsome does," it's about being as attractive as your actions, and it's about being honest to yourself and true to yourself. And then when you're also viewing other people, it's how do they behave. And how do you therefore respond and react to them? And so for me in business, I just want to do the best thing and the right thing for people. That's what that means. I know what's coming now, though.
You know what's coming now. Look, I didn't realise that your mother moved from Louisiana in the US over to the UK.
That's right.
That's right.
So
really?
her other son, Forrest, is
yes.
He's the stupid is as stupid does. And actually, when I thought about that, it is kind of the same thing. You are
absolutely
connected to your actions. If you do something daft, you are daft, and if you do something attractive and do the right thing by somebody, that's how you're going to come across. So it's
one of my friends
the same thing.
Yeah, one of my friends says that as you do in one thing, you do in everything, and that really scares me sometimes. But let's not worry about that. Let's not go too deep into that one. We've all been through some stuff. Let's just call it stuff. It's more polite when we do that. Give me a time where you did have to cope with, that mountain of poo that you had to get through or get around or whatever. What did you do? What? Tell us a bit more about that situation. What was it, and how did you survive?
I guess when I was thinking about this question, it was something that I would say to something they need to have a think about before they proceed, and we've had dialogue around this. It was actually when I was looking at expanding the business and buying another business, and it kind of felt like the right thing, but what I hadn't appreciated was how much of a distraction that would be. So I've had a look at it 2 or 3 times now, and each time I need to learn the same lesson. And I think what happened was the energy goes to the wrong place. So I'm looking to buy an income stream effectively. Obviously, that comes with debt and so forth, but I'm not actually still taking care of or nurturing the relationships I've got. And the moment that I spent 3, 5, 8 weeks, whatever, looking at other businesses, my own stream of income sort of dried up a bit.
Yeah, your own marketing funnel kind of dried up because you weren't nurturing that marketing funnel.
Yeah, and that, and you've always got to be marketing. I mean, and creating opportunities for yourself. And it was so funny. The first time I said, no, I'm not proceeding with this purchase, literally the flow of activity and new clients was incredible. And I think it was a blend of me listening for those opportunities, people seeing that I wasn't distracted or busy elsewhere, and that worked for me. Admittedly, I've had to go through that process a couple of times, but that's just one thing I would say to people is, if you're going to go down that route, you need to understand the consequences of what you're up to, really. So.
Look, I was watching something the other day, and they said an abused spouse typically has to try and leave their partner about 7 times before they finally do that. So you might look at a few other businesses along the way. Please don't. Okay.
I've learned my lesson.
Learn your lesson, and let's move on with that.
I think the other thing I was along those lines as well is also dropping a client. Sometimes the relationship isn't always right, and it's a very tough thing to do when they're an income stream for you, and you're obviously doing the right thing by them. But again, it's similar to dropping the business. If you make capacity and room, that allows your energy to be positive and go somewhere else.
Absolutely. And that's a really important thing. Now, there's a lot been happening with the whole financial stuff in the news of late. And you know that I love to find out what is something in the news and a topical tip that you can help us to cut through all of the stuff and actually have some success. So talk to us about what's happening in the news.
Okay, I think, we're sitting here in March. It was only a few weeks ago that the results of the Royal Commission came out. I think that's been a big issue for a lot of people in the financial services industries, obviously the banks and financial planning and insurance. The key really about that for me is that if you're doing the right thing and you're doing the responsible thing and working properly for your clients, then there's nothing to worry about. And for me personally, there hasn't been anything to worry about. I think for the industry as a whole and for the consumer, that there are good things that will come out of it. You're always trying to improve an industry, and a Royal Commission is meant to do that. I think there's been some poor outcomes in a way, or some things that have been highlighted, and particularly for the mortgage broking community and other things like that have been under a bit of stress, when really it was actually the Royal Commission was a Royal Commission into the misconduct in the financial sector. And so, but what was interesting was it went somewhere where probably the politicians didn't think it would go. As I say, if you're doing the right thing, I've got no concern. If they improve the regulation, they improve the way that people get serviced, then I think it's a good outcome.
That'd be fantastic. Awesome. So what, you've helped me out a lot on the whole financial planning stuff, and just helped me simplify what I need to think about. And I've got to say, it actually reduced my stress so much. So talk to us about your whole little know your number. Don't go right into it, but if people want to find out more, they can contact Damian about this. But you've got a theory that it's important to know your number.
I do. I think with anything in life, if you've got a plan, then you know what you're trying to work to achieve. But really, I've got a little chart that I've created.
You can contact him if you want to see that chart. I'm not going to let him show it to you right now.
But effectively, it's about saying, what outcome do you want in the end? And so therefore, invariably, that's about retirement, about the income stream that you need to generate. And therefore, what lump sum of capital do you need to achieve that outcome? And so if you know your number's $1 million, it's 1.5, it's 2 million or 500,000, and you know where you are today, you really got to put the effort in to building that financial base. And so if you want a 60 grand a year income, you need 1.2 million at 5% to get it. How do we build to 1.2 million? I've got 20 years, 10 years, 30 years. and it's making that commitment over time to get the outcome you're after. So, I mean, that's the financial life plan for me. That's what true financial planning is about. I think if people just say, what's your best tip or this or that, then it's not really about that. It's creating the strategy. It's saying I'm going to put in $50 a week. You know, if you're in your early teens or 20s and you do, say, $5,000 a year, you know, over 30 years, that'll be $750,000. And that comes from just that discipline and commitment to do something all the time.
Cool. Now, I've got some weird questions from Facebook here. One, can I reach my IT and geospatial sector clients? Yeah, probably, but I'm not sure what that question really means. Also, getting useful tips, helping you guys, really informative. Thanks. And that's what we're trying to do. All we're trying to do is help small business owners and be a platform where we can help you out just one little thing at a time. So,
yeah. Sorry, on that point about IT, one thing in the industry that I think is really improving, not that that's what this question is about, is the ability to interface and respond with clients. I mean, people are going much more online. They want stuff on their phone. I mean, I can hold interviews. I've got clients in Norfolk Island. I've got clients in Sydney and Melbourne. So we can actually have a very proactive interface through mediums like this, so FaceTime, Skype, whatever, and then the online digital content that they can actually access their investment information, their insurance information, and there is a lot of, and I think that's something that's happening in the sector. It's changing, and that's something that I'm proactively trying to work with my clients to improve the IT interface.
So Damian is helping his clients get far more interactive with what's happening real time in life with their financial situation and goals. So as I said, if you're looking for a financial planner, Damian's pretty awesome. If you are looking for someone who can help you just cut through all the noise and understand what all this stuff is really about, he is awesome there. He is one of Australia's 50 top most influential financial planners, and I understand that. He's got an accounting background. He understands from that and a tax point of view. He can help you with those strategies and work with your accountant to achieve the goals that you want. So that's pretty cool. So your business name is?
Fairway Capital.
Fairway Capital. And you're going to respond to everyone that comments on this post.
Of course.
And if anyone would like to talk to Damian, comment on the post below. We'll do that. He actually has explained in more detail. Hey, that's a good question. Do you think SMS is better or a fund thing? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, really quick one.
Sure, I'll take up that question.
In 2 seconds.
I think a self-managed super fund, the key for me with self-managed super fund is to have it if you want to do something you can't do with a regular personal super plan, whether that's an advised plan or whether it's in industry or something like Q Super. So if you're a business owner, you want to own your commercial premises, you can do that through a self-managed super fund. There are other things you can do with self-managed super fund. I mean, a managed fund as well. Q Super is a managed fund is slightly different than Q Super in the context of it's the investment inside the fund that counts. So a managed fund is what I would call one type of particular investment within a fund, whereas Q Super, they have a very generic.
We're getting really, really technical for one of our quick little business better things. So I hope you can reach out and ask Damian that question. Look, in 3 seconds or less, see, there's his little picture. Great. If you want to find out more about that little picture, reach out, comment below. Damian's more than happy to send that to you and even invite you in to see a little workshop that he's got on how you can build up that number. So please reach out, comment, and we want you all to have a great business. We want you to have a great life. So do business better. Thanks very much for your time today. I appreciate you taking the effort to come down from North Lakes to see us here. So we'll catch you all soon.
All the best. Thanks.
Now, Damian can stand here really awkward with me as we do that. Okay.